You're watching Euronews now. I'm Tukumbo Salako with your top stories. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is holding talks in Kiev as Russia continues to build up its military forces on the Ukraine border. Washington says Moscow could attack at any point. The COVID-19 health crisis could end this year, according to the World Health Organization, but only if rich countries do more to ensure vaccine equity. And from partygate to pork pie putsch, Boris Johnson's future as UK Prime Minister hangs in the balance as a growing number of Tory MPs prepare a vote of no confidence.
Tensions between Russia and the US are continuing to escalate over Ukraine. In its latest military move, Moscow sent troops to Belarus for joint military exercises along the latter's southern border with Ukraine. US officials are warning that the situation is on a knife's edge and an attack from Russia could be imminent.
Where things stand right now, President Putin has created this crisis by amassing 100,000 Russian troops along Ukraine's borders. This includes moving Russian forces into Belarus recently for joint exercises and conducting additional exercises on Ukraine's eastern border. So let's be clear, our view is this is an extremely dangerous situation. We're now at a stage where Russia could at any point launch an attack in Ukraine.
In search of a diplomatic way out of the growing crisis, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to meet with President Volodymyr Zelensky and Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba in Kiev to reinforce the United States' commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. He is also due to meet with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Geneva on Friday to urge Moscow to take immediate steps to de-escalate. However, Russia has made its stance clear it won't negotiate until NATO promises it will not expand into former Soviet nations, something the US and its allies have rejected. Amid growing tensions, Sweden has boosted its military presence on the island of Gotland in the Baltic Sea. Its military says it's ready to defend their values.
The Omicron variant is not giving any respite to Europe. France recorded almost 500,000 new daily cases on Tuesday, its highest ever recorded tally since the start of the pandemic. Meanwhile, coronavirus deaths in hospital increased by 288. In response to the growing number of new infections in Russia, authorities have shortened the period of self-isolation required for people infected with COVID-19 from 14 to 7 days. In Romania, the number of new cases has doubled in the past 24 hours as the country battles a fifth wave of the pandemic. It is the second least vaccinated state in the European Union, with around 40% of the population fully inoculated. Huge inequities in vaccination rates are a cause for concern at the World Health Organization, with experts claiming that the worst of the pandemic could be over this year if it wasn't for these inequalities.
We won't end the virus this year. We may never end the virus. These viruses, pandemic viruses, end up becoming part of the ecosystem. What we can end is the public health emergency.
With Europe increasingly pushing for vaccination passports, Denmark has introduced a new measure that allows companies to fire employees if they refuse to show a health pass proving they have been vaccinated or have tested negative for COVID-19.
From partygate to the pork pie plot, Boris Johnson's role as UK Prime Minister is hanging in the balance as members of his own party appear to withdraw their support over the lockdown party scandal. Some 20 Conservative MPs are reportedly discussing submitting letters of no confidence, but Johnson still insists he didn't do anything wrong.
Nobody told me that what we were doing was, as you say, against the rules, that the event in question was something that we were going to do something that wasn't a work event.
Johnson's former chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, says the Prime Minister was forewarned and that the online invitation for the gathering instructed people to bring their own booze.
Thomas was your closest advisor and he said he verbally warned you about this. Is he lying?
I can't believe that we would have gone ahead with an event that people were saying was against the rules or against what we were asking people to do. And nobody warned me that it was against the rules.
Discussions over ousting Johnson have been dubbed the pork pie plot due to one of the MPs representing the savoury foods heartland. In reality, 54 letters from Tory lawmakers are needed to trigger the vote. 6 MPs have so far publicly announced that they have submitted letters.
The European Space Agency says it is hoping to launch an exploration robot on Mars next September. The arrival on the surface of the red planet is scheduled for June 2023. The announcement was made after the Rosalind Franklin rover tests showed it could land safely. This is part of the ExoMars mission, a joint project between European and Russian space agencies. Euronews spoke to the European Director General Joseph Aschebacher just after he held a conference in Paris.
The rover is called Rosalind Franklin, and it's quite a complex machine with a lot of instruments on board, but also one instrument that is quite unique, which allows to drill into the surface of Mars up to 2 meters, and therefore really take probes of Mars itself, of the Mars surface, obviously for search of life and to better understand Mars itself.
Along with discovering signs of life on Mars, Aschebacher announced the ESA wanted to help Europe act for a green future.
Climate change is a top priority for everyone across Europe and worldwide, and we would like to make sure that we really use our satellites to the best with artificial intelligence, with Earth system models. High-performance computing really will allow us to simulate our planet on a computer. We call it Digital Twin Earth, to really help decision makers, but also people, to decarbonize our economy in a sustainable way and fully understand what the impact is. So there's a lot to be done, but really our focus in Europe is to make sure that space is used for people.
The agency leader hopes that the meeting with the ESA member states in February will raise the political ambition of Europe on space.
Tech giant Microsoft is buying the gaming company Activision Blizzard for €60 billion, acquiring blockbuster games like Call of Duty and Candy Crush. The deal will help Microsoft grow its mobile gaming profile and provide building blocks for the metaverse. The announcement comes with Activision still in turmoil over allegations of sexual misconduct. Following the announcement, Chairman Satya Nadella said gaming is the most dynamic and exciting category in entertainment across all platforms today. The CEO added this new era will make gaming safe, inclusive and accessible to all. The acquisition marks Microsoft's largest incursion into the competitive world of gaming to date. The all-cash deal will turn the tech giant, maker of the Xbox gaming system, into one of the world's largest video game companies and help it compete with tech rivals such as Meta, formerly Facebook, in creating immersive virtual worlds for both work and play. Villa Aurora, a sprawling Roman mansion boasting the only mural by the Italian painter Caravaggio, has failed to sell at auction. The 6-storey villa had an asking price of €471 million, but didn't attract any buyers. While the Baroque Masters oil painting remains the pride and joy of the property's owner, Princess Rita Boncompagni Ludovici. The former actress says her home is a mecca for art lovers.
There's so many treasures here beyond the Caravaggio. The Caravaggio itself is estimated to be worth $350 million. So then you have Guercino's masterpiece. In the Ingresso, you have Zuccari's masterpiece, and he was the leading Mannerist painter. And then you segue from the Mannerist painter into the Baroque period on the next floor up. I mean, it's pretty astonishing.
It is probably the first work of Caravaggio that we are aware of. So in its story, it is a milestone. Then in itself, it is a beautiful work of art. It is a mythological topic, something rare in Caravaggio's artwork, that for the most part were sacred themes. So it is a painting that is of importance both historically and artistically, and of great beauty. There is not a shadow of doubt. A very important work of art.
Art enthusiasts are calling for the Italian government to purchase the villa. However, the prospective buyer will be required to fork out a cool €11 million to cover reparation works.
Still lots more to come on the programme, but it's time for us to take a break. We'll be back in a few moments.